Hey guys, this is Chauncey from Good Music to Know, and today I'm joined by Echo Thrills. I spent the past few days completely immersed in the Inner City, the debut album. It's cool, it's jazzy and textured, but also deeply reflective. It's 100% a no-skip album that glides from laid-back tunes to funky, soulful grooves, touching on themes like disconnection, identity, and self-realignment. And we're super stoked to have Oscar here, so welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I gave the album another full listen today, and I don't say this very often to artists, but in my opinion, it's truly a no skip album. It is
Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. And so yeah, like I mentioned before, it's cool, it's jazzy, it's soulful. There's a bit of nostalgia there of some of the old school elements that you've added, but also thematically, it's deep, touching on themes of maybe disconnection or identity. So what did you want the Inner City to represent as your first full-length album?
The themes that I worked on, or that, came to be basically, I always start up with the music, then the themes and ideas. The lyrics comes, by hand, by doing the music. But when it comes to inspiration, I was very inspired by New York in the late 90s or mid 90s, when skate culture combined with hip hop culture, with those jazzy sampled elements, but also combined with grunge rock and roll, and everything is that melted together. And of course, me not who never lived in New York, but being a Swede, is observing New York from my TV, and MTV and all that. It was just my interpretation and picture that I got from that kind of era and time, which I think has set a very deep impact on my general view of New York, and it was very inspired. So that inspired me. I think you can hear that in some of the tracks as well, with jazzy parts and a lot of sampling combined, with my own sound. So that, sonically, I think it was a big inspiration, but also visually, I wanted to be reflected in my videos and photos and so on. And when I started to think about, what inspired me musically and visually, I thought about, it's just about living in the urban environment, now in this time and age, how it is to live, in this highly technological kind of world, with all the stress, with all the energy, both good and bad. Of course, it's very inspiring being surrounded by inspiring people and, events, so on. But it can also be very challenging, with all this, everything that's going on with everyone is trying to get by and trying to move up the ladder, and a lot of people that move into new cities, trying to find themselves, trying to find your peers, your place. So I think it's, of course, based on my own reflections and experiences of living in Stockholm, which is of course a very small city if you compare it to New York, but it's still a capital, and the stress is here. Some of the environmental things are also here. So basically, for me, it's a reflection of being a human being this time and age. Trying to find authenticity and finding yourself in all this, and falling in love and existing and all that. So it's a lot of reflections basically based on the basis of living in that city.
You just answered 4 of the questions.
Oh no!
No,
well, I'm a psychic. I can read it.
No, I
beforehand.
Well, at least we're on the same page when I listen to the album. But I mean, you kind of already answered this question, but I was going to say that it starts with obviously the first track, Technology, and then it kind of continues through Illusion. But I was going to say there's a thread of tech-induced alienation maybe from technology. And then I was going to ask you, do you feel like tech and all of us being so hyper-connected is hindering us from really feeling what it's to be human, or something that's more human? But you kind of already answered that, so
well, we can dive deeper into it if we want to. I think some of the lines and in the verses of Technology is quite telling. He's looking up and seeing everyone being surrounded by people, but everyone is disconnected because everyone is on the phone, right? So you can feel and just being in a big city, you can feel alone, surrounded by people. But now in our time and age, we feel even more alone because you have thousands of people around you, but everyone isn't there. They're somewhere else. At times you just wake up and look around and say, what the fuck are we doing? This is
every day.
So this topic, in many ways, people don't even, look up if there's a car coming, it's dangerous. We have lost our sense of how to survive almost.
Yeah.
So, at times, I guess everyone basically just reflects, what's going on around us, and what's going on with me. How do I live? And do I want to be a part of this? How does it make me feel? And yeah.
Well, I like every song on the album, but I think one of my favorites is Orange.
Yeah.
It's so nice. It's like smooth and sensual and it's a bit nostalgic. But I was just curious, like, what does that color represent to you in context of that song?
Wow, that's a really tricky question, to be honest. When we wrote a track, it's with Victor and Joseph. It was just the title of the idea.
Oh, okay.
To be honest. So I just called it Orange because I think I felt like it's a warm track. It is bouncy, colorful. So it feels like orange,
Yeah.
So I think that's that, to be honest. But
that makes sense at least.
Yeah. So
I think it'd be more alarming if you called it like green or something. So I think orange.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I write music, I'm very, based on emotion, and I don't overthink so much. I just go with what feels right. So it felt orange. So that's that.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked that the album ended with Light of Truth. I don't know, it felt like the entire album kind of takes you on this journey from us being like disconnected with technology or maybe falling out of love or not being fully present. And then it closes with Light of Truth, what kind of feels like a reminder to like find your own light amongst all this craziness happening around us. Did you always know you wanted to end the record on like that kind of note?
That's a good question. Actually, it was one of the last songs that I wrote for the album. I wanted to make a song that rounded up everything, but also to give you a sense of hope, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't stop believing in yourself. Don't stop self-reflect. You have all the answers of who you are and who you want to be inside yourself. I think for me, that song is just about meeting someone else that also see the world in the same kind of light as you do, right? That feels this and knows that they are disconnected. That they want to find back to connection, and what's really true, what's the true way of living for you, and what do you feel, to be in balance, so it's always want to give some kind of hope or light, so yeah.
I think that song and Casual Bliss like definitely give you hope. Casual Bliss is like I feel like it's the perfect song to put on like when the sun is shining and you're like like having a good day. Like I was listening to Casual Bliss when I was walking my dog this morning and I was just like smiling. It just lyrics are nice. Like it just like the world is falling apart around you, but it's like nice when you have those moments of just like brief peace. But yeah, I love that. That was a good one.
I felt like I had to put in some really happy songs. And I know I'm a pretty happy kind of guy, so I think that Casual Bliss is definitely one of those, walking around. I know when I made it, the beat, I just had it in my phones and it was a sunny day. And when I came out from the studio and for once it felt like everyone was smiling, like you have a good day, and you see children playing and, everything feels, some days are just good. So
yeah.
And those days in the city is really good. It's really nice. When people are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know there's like nods, like when you listen to the album, like there's nods of kind of like 70s funk. Then there's even like some 90s hip hop. There were some like scratching record elements and some nice drum and bass. But then there's also like the vintage jazz elements. So were there maybe any like artists or albums that influenced this record?
I think when it comes to those more like hip hop and jazz elements, I think a Tribe Called Quest has been a big influence for sure. A lot of the New York-based, hip-hop artists from the 90s, De La Soul, hip-hop in general, Of course, bands like Bad Bad Not Good has always been a big inspiration for me.
Yeah.
Love them. So I guess those kind of artists, but also like D'Angelo that just passed away.
I know. I was so...
It's very sad. So sad. But, and Erykah Badu and, that whole kind of vibe that was going around in soul music in the mid-90s. And I'm also, inspired by Nirvana and those kind of rock bands, psychedelic rock. So I wanted to fuse those, soul, hip-hop, jazz, and indie rock together. Me listening to a lot of hip-hop in the late 90s when I was a kid, I wanted to infuse that and the same kind of feeling like I had from listening to on my MP3 player. So
Yeah. I feel like the 90s had some of the like best, like I was also a kid in the 90s, but I don't know, like I just feel like the music in the 90s was so good. Like anything from like the alternative to the neo soul, there's something super special and nostalgic about music from the 90s. I will always love it. Yeah.
Me too.
And so I can't wait to hear this album played live. So 2-part question. Do you have any plans to tour it soon? And if so, what song are you most looking forward to playing live?
I am planning for more live gigs next year. We're still in the planning phase, so I can't really announce anything, but that's what I will work for. That's what I will hope for and will aim at. So next year, I hope to do a lot of more live gigs, hopefully both in Europe and maybe in the US as well. But it's still in the planning phase. So I really hope that everything gets, locked in. Which track I'm looking most forward to playing live from the album? Visualizing, tracks live. Technology could be really cool. I see like people bouncing to it because it got that kind of bouncy kind of feeling. Also, I'm looking forward to playing. I always forget my songs, what the titles of songs. It's so embarrassing, but all the time, that track. People are like with or the label. That track that goes like this. I always forget it. I'm terrible.
I think Orange would be a super fun song. Like I know it's like a bit jazzier, but I think Orange could be fun to dance to.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun live. I guess that track is gonna be like a 12-minute version, with all the gas parts and stuff like that. So yeah, I look forward to play the whole album. To be honest, it's gonna be fun to play it live with the band. It's really funky tracks, so I hope that people, can come to the shows, have a good time, dance, be caught up in dancing, enjoying themselves, being present together. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And do you have like an ultimate favorite on the track? Like I know it's a hard question because you probably love them all, but if you like have to pick, do you have one that's like really near and dear to your heart, or maybe one that you're like the most proud of?
Personal favorite has been, for a long time, has been Illusion, to be honest, because I love trip hop and I think
so good.
I really reached the feeling that I was looking for with Illusion. I like the lyrics and the whole, I think it encapsulates the whole album and the idea and vision for the album very good. It got that city kind of vibe from that kind of time and age, but also with some psych rock elements into it. So I would say Illusion.
Yeah. And then like ultimately, what do you hope listeners take away from listening to this album?
Maybe a part of self-reflection of the world, maybe.
Yeah.
Like for me, writing music and listening to music is always, like an inner journey. So the music that I like the most is when I feel like the music is taking me on a journey, that I'm a part of. So if the listener could feel listening through the album that they're on a journey, from the beginning to the end, that takes themselves somewhere, then that would be an amazing thing. But feel whatever you feel, it's his music. Yeah, have fun. Hope they don't hate it, but that's okay as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they'll hate it. Well, maybe I'm biased because I really liked it, but I think the majority of people will enjoy it. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I think those are the main questions I had for you. But with that being said, maybe are there any final words that you would like to leave your fans and the listeners with?
Thank you for listening. I haven't been doing this for so long, but I'm so happy that you found my music. And if you haven't, take a listen. I'm really looking forward to get out there more. I've been really spending so much time in the studio doing all this. So now it's time for me to get out there and give my music some live love as well. So yeah, and keep reflecting, keep believing in yourself. Yeah, and there's always light behind the darkness. So.